Have you mixed lemon with your favorite meal, thinking it would make it healthier or taste better? Lemon seems harmless, right? We squeeze it on salads, mix it in tea, drizzle it over cooked food without even thinking. But what if I told you that combining lemon with certain foods can actually do more harm than good? Yes, as refreshing and cleansing as it feels, lemon can clash badly with some ingredients, upsetting digestion, ruining nutrients, or creating unpleasant textures. And yet there are other foods where lemon becomes a complete game changer, boosting absorption, improving flavor, and delivering serious health benefits. So, what are those foods? Why are some combinations perfect while others turn into a bad mix? Can a tiny splash of lemon really ruin a healthy meal? Foods you should never mix with lemon. Most people think of lemon as something you can add to almost anything. It's refreshing, clean, sharp, and it instantly lifts the flavor of whatever it touches. So it feels harmless to squeeze a little lemon into tea, drizzle a bit over dessert, or even try it with creamy drinks to make them healthier. But when it comes to milk and milk-based beverages, lemon behaves very differently than you might expect, and the reaction is immediate, visible, and honestly a little shocking if you've never seen it happen up close. Milk looks smooth and uniform, but inside that glass is a delicate balance of fats, minerals, and protein. The main protein in milk, casein, stays suspended because the natural pH of milk keeps everything stable. But the moment you introduce something acidic, and lemon juice is extremely acidic, that balance shifts. The pH level drops, and suddenly those proteins lose their structure. They clump together, forming soft lumps that separate from the liquid. This is what we call curdling, and if you've ever accidentally added lemon to hot milk, you've probably seen those tiny white specks floating around. It's not dangerous, but it's far from pleasant. If you try adding lemon to a cup of tea that contains milk, you'll see the reaction almost instantly. The once smooth and creamy drink becomes grainy, with small curds rising to the top and sticking to the sides of the cup. In iced coffee or cold milkshakes, the curdling may happen a little slower, but the end result is the same. Instead of a silky texture, you get a drink that feels broken, separated, and almost spoiled. The taste becomes sour, the mouthfeel becomes lumpy, and the entire drink loses the comforting, creamy quality you expect from milk-based beverages. Many people mistake this reaction for milk going bad, but the truth is that the lemon is the trigger. Even perfectly fresh milk will curdle if the acidity is high enough. What even more surprising is how heat intensifies the problem. Hot milk reacts faster to lemon than cold milk. In a hot cup of tea or coffee, the proteins in milk are already more sensitive because they're closer to their coagulation point. Add lemon on top of that, and the curdling becomes not just possible but inevitable. This is why you'll often see people squeeze lemon into black tea but never into milk tea unless they want an unpleasant surprise. Even chefs and baristas avoid mixing milk and lemon juice directly unless the recipe specifically calls for it, because the chemistry is difficult to control. Now, this doesn't mean lemon and dairy can never be used together. In fact, the reason lemon curdles milk is the same reason we use it to make certain cheeses. When making paneer, ricotta, or cottage cheese, cooks intentionally add lemon juice to boiling milk because they want that separation. The curds become the cheese, and the liquid that separates out is whey. So the science isn't a problem, it's the texture we care about. In drinks, sauces, and desserts where creaminess is essential, curdling ruins the experience. But in cheese making or specific recipes that rely on curdled milk, it's exactly what we want. Another issue is that adding lemon to milk-based drinks can make them spoil faster if the milk is already near its expiration point. The acidity pushes the milk closer to its natural souring process. So even if the milk wasn't bad bore, the reaction with lemon can create flavors and smells that resemble spoiled milk. That's not harmful, but it's definitely not something you want to drink. However, if you love the bright flavor of lemon and still want it near dairy, there are safe ways to do it. One simple trick is to use lemon zest instead of lemon juice. Zest gives you all the aroma without the acidity. That means you can get a fresh lemon fragrance in desserts, milkshakes, or creamy sauces without causing curdling. Another option is to use lemon extract or lemon syrup. Both offer flavor without the pH shift. You can also use lemon in dairy products that are already acidic, like yogurt, sour cream, and buttermilk. These foods are fermented and have a lower pH, which makes them stable and less likely to curdle any further when exposed to lemon juice. This is why lemon is commonly used in yogurt marinades, salad dressings, and dips without any problem. If you're working on a recipe that genuinely requires both milk and lemon juice, there are techniques to avoid curdling. One method is tempering, slowly adding a small amount of acidic liquid into a larger warm mixture to gradually adjust the pH without shocking the proteins. Another method is to add lemon only at the very end of cooking, off the heat, so it doesn't have enough time or temperature to cause major protein clumping. Even then, too much lemon will eventually overpower the milk and the mixture will bake. Despite all this, some people still worry that drinking curdled milk is dangerous. It's not. Milk curdled by lemon juice is not harmful because the acidity keeps bacteria from growing. The main issue is taste and texture, not safety. But since most people don't enjoy gritty, lumpy milk in their drinks, it's better to avoid the combination unless you're intentionally making cheese or following a recipe that guides you through the process carefully. Number 2. Eggs and lemon mimic two ingredients that should always work well together. After all, we see them paired in beautiful desserts like lemon curd, lemon meringue pie, or silky sauces that taste bright and luxurious. But while those recipes succeed, they succeed because they are extremely controlled. When you take lemon and mix it randomly into egg-based custards, cream sauces, or delicate emulsions, you enter a territory where the balance is so fragile that the smallest mistake can ruin the entire dish. Eggs are one of the most sensitive ingredients in the kitchen. Their proteins are tiny folded structures held together by weak bonds. When you heat them, whip them, or expose them to acid, those proteins start to unfold and link together. If you do it gently, you get the creamy, smooth textures we all love, the softness of custard, the silkiness of pastry cream, the light structure of a hollandaise. But if even one factor becomes too strong, the entire mixture goes from smooth to grainy, or from creamy to scrambled. Lemon juice is highly acidic, and acid is powerful enough to change egg proteins even at room temperature. When you whisk lemon juice directly into raw eggs, you're lowering the pH instantly. This acidity begins to tighten the proteins before you even apply heat, and this early tightening can lead to a custard that cooks unevenly, breaks, or becomes gritty instead of velvety. When you then place that mixture over heat, the eggs have less flexibility. They thicken faster and more aggressively, meaning the difference between the perfect texture and a ruined one becomes only a few sets. Even a slight increase in temperature can cause the mixture to seize, turning smooth custard into something curdled or lumpy. This is why recipes like lemon curd work only because they're designed with this chemistry in mind. Lemon curd requires constant whisking, gentle heat, and the exact ratio of sugar and butter to offset the acidity. Sugar raises the coagulation temperature of eggs, giving them more room to thicken slowly without scrambling. Butter adds fat, which helps stabilize the mixture. Without these balancing ingredients and techniques, lemon juice alone would instantly ruin the texture. The success of lemon curd doesn't mean lemon can be added freely to any egg mixture. Cream sauces present the same risks. Take hollandaise, for example.
A delicate emulsion made from egg yolks, butter, and acid, usually lemon juice or vinegar. But even in this classic sauce, the process is incredibly sensitive. If you add too much lemon juice too quickly, the yolks tighten before they have enough fat to stabilize them. If the temperature gets too high, the sauce splits and the butter separates from the eggs. The bright, glossy sauce becomes oily, grainy, and nearly impossible to fix. Even professionals know how easily this can happen, which is why hollandaise is often whisked gently over steam, not direct heat, and the lemon is added gradually while constantly adjusting the consistency. In custards, the risk is even greater. Custards rely on slow, controlled coagulation of egg proteins. The goal is for the mixture to set gently and evenly so the final texture is smooth, soft, and uniform. Lemon disrupts this natural process. When added too early, the acidity begins to activate the proteins unevenly, causing parts of the custard to thicken or others. When heated, those early thickened spots become rubbery, grainy, or even scrambled. The result is a custard with tiny clumps instead of a silky finish. Many people don't realize how delicate this process is. Even a few extra tablespoons of lemon can completely change the chemistry and ruin hours of careful preparation. The same issues appear in pastry creams, creamy salad dressings, mayonnaise, béarnaise, and other emulsified sauces.
Emulsions rely on forming a stable bond between fat and water, a relationship that eggs help maintain because their molecules can connect the two. But when lemon juice is added at the wrong time or in the wrong amount, that fragile balance collapses. Too much acidity forces the water and fat to separate. Instead of a smooth, glossy sauce, you get something broken where pools of oil sit on top of a grainy mixture. Once an emulsion breaks, it is extremely difficult to bring it back because the proteins have already tightened and expelled their moisture. Despite this, lemon can still enhance egg-based recipes beautifully when handled correctly. The safest approach is to use lemon zest when you want flavor without acidity. The zest contains essential oils that give a bright lemon aroma without altering the pH. This makes it perfect for cake batters, custards, creams, and sauces where acidity would cause problems. If you do need actual lemon juice, the timing matters. Adding it at the very end after the mixture is removed from heat gives you flavor without disrupting the structure. This is why some sauce recipes instruct you to finish with lemon off the heat. You get the brightness without risking the mixture splitting. Egg whites, interestingly, behave differently. A little bit of acid, such as lemon juice or cream of tartar, can actually help stabilize them. This is why lemon works in meringues but becomes risky in custards.
Egg whites need stability during whipping, and acid slows down coagulation just enough to give them more structure. But this benefit applies only to whites, not yolks, and only in cold whipped preparations, not hot, creamy ones.
Likewise, when you understand how sensitive eggs are and how strongly acid affects them, it becomes clear why lemon cannot simply be mixed into these dishes without intention and control. The difference between a creamy masterpiece and a ruined mixture often comes down to a few drops of lemon added at the wrong time. ChatGPT can make mistakes.
Check important info. Foods that pair perfectly with lemon. 1. Fish and seafood. Fish and seafood have one of the most natural, effortless relationships with lemon out of any food pairing in the culinary world. It's a combination that feels almost instinctive, something generations of cooks across cultures have discovered without needing scientific explanations. Yet behind that simple squeeze of lemon lies a surprisingly complex interaction of flavor chemistry, aroma balance, and protein structure. Something that transforms fish from tasting plain or overly rich to tasting clean, bright, and fresh. The acidity in lemon is what makes this pairing so magical. Fish contains natural oils and compounds that can sometimes create a strong aroma, especially in varieties like salmon, mackerel, sardines, or even certain shellfish. These compounds aren't harmful, but they can smell or taste fishy to some people.
Lemon citric acid neutralizes many of those compounds on contact and said, okay, we'll give you 10 days. And I reckon that's a really good test. Let's just try it. And in 1 Thessalonians 5:21, the Bible says, prove all things. That's a challenge. Prove all things and hold fast to how the fish is meant to be experienced. Another interesting thing is how lemon interacts physically with the fish itself. The acid in lemon begins to denature the proteins in fish the moment it touches the surface. This is the same mechanism that cooks fish in dishes ex servage. When fish is exposed to acid, the proteins tighten and turn opaque, creating a firmer texture without any heat. On a cooked dish, this effect is gentle. A squeeze of lemon over grilled fish enhances the texture just slightly, giving the surface a firmer, more appealing bite, while still keeping the inside tender and flaky. On raw preparations like sashimi or ceviche, the acid works much more noticeably. In ceviche, the lemon or lime essentially cooks the fish all the way through, turning it opaque and firm while info it with a bright, refreshing flavor. But this process is delicate. Too much acid or too long a soak can make fish turn tough or chalky, so timing matters tremendously. That's why chefs often add the lemon juice close to serving rather than marinating it for hours. Lemon also plays a major role in balancing richness. Oily fish like salmon, tuna, and mackerel have higher fat content, giving them a luscious, satisfying feel, but sometimes making them taste heavy.
Acid cuts through that richness beautifully, much like how lemon cuts through olive oil in salad dressings, or how vinegar balances fatty meats. Just a small amount lightens a dish without reducing its depth. This balance is why salmon and lemon are such a universally loved combination. Even in sushi, where lemon isn't traditionally used, modern chefs sometimes place a tiny lemon slice on top of raw salmon to give a refreshing brightness that complements its buttery texture. When cooking fish, lemon can be used in different ways depending on the outcome you want. Lemon zest, for example, gives fragrance without acidity. Zest contains essential oils that bring pure lemon, aroma clean, floral, and bright without affecting texture or pH levels. Adding zest to fish marinades enhances the flavor without firming the proteins too early.
This is important because too much acid in a marinade can begin to cook the fish while it's still raw, resulting in a mushy outer layer once it hits the heat. Using zest avoids this problem completely. Lemon slices, when roasted alongside the fish, give a mellow, slightly caramelized citrus flavor. As the slices bake, the oils in the rind release into the dish, creating a deeper aroma. This works beautifully with whole roasted fish or fillets baked with herbs and olive oil. The lemon soft fest, sometimes becoming slightly sweet, and infuses the fish with a gentle citrus note that feels natural instead of sharp.
I believe this natural, that no longer is lovely for time additionally right now. Leaving a mushy outer layer once it hits the heat. Using zest avoids this problem completely. Lemon slices, when roasted alongside the fish, give a mellow, slightly caramelized citrus flavor. As the slices bake, the oils in the rind release into the dish, creating a deeper aroma. This works beautifully with whole roasted fish or fillets baked with herbs and olive oil. The lemon soft fest, sometimes becoming slightly sweet, and infuses the fish with a gentle citrus note that feels natural.
For grilled or pan-seared fish, lemon is often added at the very end. High heat can make lemon juice turn slightly bitter if exposed too long, so chefs prefer to finish with the squeeze right for serving. This preserves its brightness and allows the acid to hit the palate fresh, balancing the char or crispiness of the fish. Lemon also enhances herbs commonly paired with seafood. Parsley, dill, cilantro, basil, mint, and chives all become more expressive when combined with lemon. The acid lifts their natural aromas, making them taste more vibrant. A simple mixture of lemon juice, olive oil, garlic, and chopped herbs can instantly elevate grilled fish without requiring complicated seasoning. Shellfish and lemon share an equally strong connection. Shrimp, crab, oysters, clams, mussels, and lobster all shine when paired with bright acidity. Lemon helps highlight the natural sweetness in shellfish, cutting through their briny flavor and giving each bite a clean finish. Think about how common it is to serve oysters with lemon wedges, or how shrimp cocktails always come with a lemon slice. Even in butter-heavy dishes like lobster rolls or garlic shrimp, lemon brings balance, preventing the dish from feeling heavy or overly rich. The acidity refreshes the palate with every bite. Lemon also interacts with salt in a special way when used on seafood. Too much salt can overwhelm delicate fish, but when lemon is added, it allows you to season more lightly while still achieving full flavor. The acid enhances the perception of saltiness without increasing sodium, making the dish taste more seasoned and more complex at the same time. Whether used raw, cooked, zested, or squeezed at the last moment, lemon has the ability to transform fish and seafood in a way no other ingredient can. It adds freshness, removes unwanted flavors, balances richness, and even plays a role in the texture of the fish itself. It's not just a garnish, it's an essential part of making seafood taste its best. Secondly, leafy greens and fresh vegetables have a special relationship with lemon that feels almost effortless, as if they were meant to go there from the very beginning. When you think about the natural taste of vegetables, earthy, slightly bitter, sometimes tough or bland, it becomes clear why lemon plays such a powerful role. Lemon doesn't just add flavor, it transforms the entire personality of greens and veggies. A single squeeze can soften textures, balance bitterness, brighten colors, sharpen aromas, and give life to ingredients that might otherwise taste muted or raw. It elevates the simplest salad, refreshes cooked vegetables, and turns even plain greens into something vibrant and exciting. One of the most interesting effects of lemon is how it interacts with bitterness. Many leafy greens, especially kale, arugula, mustard greens, dandelion greens, and certain lettuces, naturally contain compounds that give them a sharp or bitter taste. For some people, this bitterness is off-putting, making salads feel too intense or harsh. Lemon solves that problem almost instantly. When the acid hits the greens, it chemically alters these bitter compounds, making them taste milder and more balanced. At the same time, the bright citrus aroma tricks the senses into perceiving freshness instead of sharpness. This is why adding lemon to arugula or kale creates such a noticeable improvement in flavor. Lemon also helps break down the natural toughness of certain greens. Kale is the best example. Raw kale can be stiff and fibrous, but when you massage it with lemon juice, olive oil, and a little salt, the acid helps soften the leaves without cooking them. What was once rigid becomes tender, pliable, and much more enjoyable. This simple technique is the foundation of many modern kale salads. Lemon acts almost like a natural tenderizer, allowing the greens to absorb flavors more easily and making the salad taste more cohesive. Beyond leafy greens, lemon has a powerful effect on fresh vegetables as well. Think about cucumbers, bell peppers, carrots, radishes, tomatoes, or even raw cabbage. Each of these vegetables has its own natural flavor profile, but all benefit from acidity. Lemon brings contrast that enhances sweetness, balances earthiness, and lifts the overall flavor. It is especially transformative for vegetables that might taste flat or watery on their own. Cucumbers, for example, become crisp and refreshing with a splash of lemon and a pinch of salt. Tomatoes become brighter and more flavorful because the acidity complements their natural acidity, creating a layered taste instead of a one-note sourness. Another remarkable thing lemon does is preserve the color and freshness of cut fruits and vegetables. When exposed to air, ingredients like apples, avocados, bananas, and even artichokes tend to oxidize and turn brown. This browning doesn't make them unsafe, but it makes them unattractive and affects texture. Lemon juice prevents this oxidation by creating a protective acidic barrier. This is why a squeeze of lemon on avocado slices keeps them vibrant for longer, or why apple slice in fruit salads stay crisp and bright. Even guacamole benefits tremendously from lemon or lime, not only for flavor, but for keeping its color intact. When used in salads, lemon creates a dressing base that feels timeless. A classic vinaigrette made with lemon juice, olive oil, salt, and pepper is one of the simplest yet most effective dressings ever created. It works because the acid cuts through the natural oils in the salad ingredients, binds flavors together, and sharpens the taste of everything it touches. Adding herbs like parsley, mint, basil, cilantro, dill, or chives only makes the mixture more aromatic. Lemon becomes the ingredient that ties all these flavors together, making the salad feel balanced and light rather than heavy or oily. For cooked vegetables, timing matters. Lemon juice added too early during cooking can dull flavors or cause the vegetables to bake down inconsistently. But when added after roasting, steaming, sautéing, or grilling, lemon makes the vegetables taste cleaner and fresher.
Roasted carrots, for example, become sweeter when finished with a squeeze of lemon. Steamed broccoli tastes more vibrant. Grilled zucchini becomes lighter and more aromatic. Lemon enhances the natural sweetness in cooked vegetables while toning down any earthy or heavy notes that develop during heating. Lemon zest, once again, plays a unique role. Zest adds potent citrus aroma without acidity, allowing you to incorporate lemon flavor during the cooking process without affecting texture or cooking times. Zest can be added to roasted vegetables before going into the oven, mixed into sautéed greens, or stirred into vegetable pastes, dips, and spreads. The oils in lemon zest add brightness without the risk of making the vegetables mushy or over firm due to acid. Another important role lemon plays with fresh vegetables is enhancing hydration and refreshment. Vegetables like cucumbers, celery, tomatoes, and radishes have high water content. Adding lemon draws out their juices, creating a naturally seasoned liquid that tastes almost like a light dressing. This is why simple salads made from just cucumbers, lemon, and salt taste complete, even without oil or extra seasoning. The lemon doesn't just flavor the vegetables, it activates them. In dishes like tabbouleh, fadish, chopped salads, and slaws, lemon is not just a flavor enhancer, but a structural element. It acts as the binding ingredient that brings herbs, veggies, and grains into one unified taste. Even in vegetable-based spreads, hummus, or baba ganoush, the lemon cuts through the creaminess and gives clarity to the flavor.
Without lemon, these dishes taste dull or heavy. With lemon, they become refreshing and balanced. Lemon ability to highlight the natural flavors of vegetables without overpowering them is what makes this pairing so perfect. Whether is raw or cooked, in salads or sides, as juice or zest, lemon has a way of making vegetables taste more alive, more vibrant, and more exciting than they could on their own. And lastly, grains, legumes, and grain bowls might not need exciting at first glance, but the moment lemon enters the beer, everything changes. Lemon has this unique ability to brighten, sharpen, and elevate ingredients that are naturally mild, earthy, or subtle in flavor. When you think about foods like rice, quinoa, lentils, chickpeas, bulgur, couscous, barley, or farro, they all share a similar quality. They act as blank canvases. They absorb flavors around them, but don't usually offer much intensity on their own. That's why lemon pairs with them so beautifully. Its acidity cuts through their natural heaviness, its brightness enhances their aroma, and its freshness makes the entire dish feel lighter and more vibrant. One of the most noticeable things lemon does is enhance the perception of seasoning. Many grain dishes rely on salt for flavor, but lemon allows you to use less salt while still making the dish taste fuller and better seasoned. The acidity activates the taste buds differently, making the flavors feel more complete without overwhelming them. A grain bowl with quinoa or brown rice might taste plain or dull at first, but after adding lemon, suddenly the herbs taste sharper, the vegetables become more expressive, and the grains feel livelier. It's like switching a dish from low definition to high definition with just one ingredient. Lemon also highlights the natural nuttiness of grains. Ingredients like quinoa, farro, barley, and bulgur have subtle, earthy, toasty notes that sometimes get lost when mixed with heavy dressings or strong spices. Lemon brings those notes forward instead of hiding them. When added at the end of cooking, lemon lifts the flavor profile, making each grain taste more distinct. In dishes like tabbouleh, lemon is not just an ingredient, it's the soul of the dish. Without lemon, tabbouleh would taste flat, almost muted. But with lemon, the bulgur becomes bright, the parsley smells fresh, the tomatoes taste sweeter, and the entire salad becomes refreshing and vibrant. Another reason lemon pairs so well with grains and legumes is its ability to balance richness. Many grain bowls include ingredients like olive oil, tahini, yogurt, avocado, nuts, seeds, or roasted vegetables, all of which add creaminess or heaviness. Without acidity, these components can make the bowl feel dense or overwhelming. Lemon cuts through that heaviness, creating contrast and preventing the dish from tasting one-dimensional. It works the same way lemon lights fatty fish or creamy sauces. The acid breaks up the richness and resets the palate with each bite. Lemon also plays a major role in cold salads made with grains or legumes. In warm dishes, heat naturally helps ingredients release their flavors, but in cold dishes, they rely more on acidity to wake them up. Chickpea salads, lentil salads, couscous bowls, and quinoa mixes all taste significantly better with lemon because the acid enhances the flavor molecules that remain subdued when chilled. This is why Mediterranean and Middle Eastern cuisines use lemon so generously in cold salads and mezze dishes. It gives grains and legumes the brightness they need to stand out, even when nerved, straight from the refrigerator. Lemon zest is another powerful tool in grain and legume dishes. While juice offers acidity and brightness, zest delivers pure lemon aroma without any sourness. Adding zest to rice, couscous, or quinoa delivers layers of fragrance that feel fresh and clean without altering the texture. Zest can be stirred into warm grains, mixed into dressings, or added to marinades for chickpeas or lentils. Its essential oils create a citrusy fragrance that spreads through the entire bowl, giving it a gourmet-level aroma with almost no effort. When paired with legumes, lemon becomes even more important. Lentils and chickpeas, for example, have earthy, slightly starchy flavor that benefits enormously from acidity. A bowl of lentils seasoned with salt alone will taste heavy, but add lemon and it instantly feels lighter. Chickpeas are the same. They have a creamy texture that can feel dense, but lemon gives them dimension, making them taste cleaner and more flavorful. This is why dishes like hummus depend on lemon, not just for taste, but for balance. Without lemon, hummus tastes flat and overly thick. With lemon, it becomes bright, smooth, and harmonious. Lemon also enhances the freshness of herbs used in grain bowls. Whether it's parsley, cilantro, mint, dill, basil, or chives, lemon interacts with their aromatic compounds and helps them become more expressive. A grain bowl with herbs alone may smell nice, but when combined with lemon, the fragrance becomes noticeably sharper. It's the difference between herbs that simply sit in the dish and herbs that come alive with every bite. Another beautiful thing lemon does is amplify the natural sweetness in vegetables that often accompany grains. Roasted carrots, sautéed peppers, cherry tomatoes, cucumbers, and even sweet potatoes become more flavorful when balanced with acidity. This interaction creates a full spectrum of flavor, sweet, bright, savory, and fresh, all within the same bowl. A simple dressing of lemon juice, olive oil, garlic, and salt can tie everything together in a way that feels coherent and delicious. Lemon also interacts with texture. Grain bowls often include crunchy, soft, creamy, and chewy elements. Without acidity, these textures can feel disconnected or heavy. Lemon creates a sense of unity, connecting all components with a bright top note. This is especially noticeable in bowls that include roasted vegetables, nuts, seeds, or crispy toppings. The lemon helps bridge the gap between textures while making each bite feel balanced instead of random. Ultimately, lemon doesn't just season grains and legumes, it awakens them. It brings out their hidden complexity, lifts their natural flavors, and transforms simple ingredients into meals that taste refreshing, wholesome, and satisfying in a way that feels almost effortless.